John, Kevin, and Larry had 216 game cards. So we have 3 friends that had 216 game cards altogether. Kevin gave some of his game cards to John, and John's game cards were tripled. Then John gave some of his game cards to Larry, and Larry's game cards were tripled. In the end, the 3 boys had an equal number of game cards. How many game cards did Kevin have at first? Okay, when you see this word at first, we know that this is a question that requires us to work backwards. So when it comes to working backwards kind of question, we need to always read from the last sentence to the first sentence. What do I mean by the last sentence? In this case, the last sentence is, at the end, the 3 boys had an equal number of game cards. So all I need to do is to draw a table with John, Kevin, and Larry. The total number of game cards adds up to 216. So let's draw a table. Okay, once we have this table, we can start to find out how many game cards each of them have in the end. So since they have an equal number of game cards, I'll just use 216 divided by 3 to get the number of game cards each of them have. Each of them have 72. Okay, from this we know each of them has 72. Next, okay, I read this sentence. Then John gave some of his game cards to Larry, and Larry's game cards were tripled. So if John did not give any game cards to Larry, okay, what will be the number of game cards Larry have? Okay, so we know that right now Larry has 72. If John did not give him, okay, we need to divide by 3. So 72 divided by 3 equals to 24. So we know that before Larry receives any game cards from John, right, he actually has 24 game cards. Okay, so that means I need to return the 48 game cards to John. How did I get this 48? Because 72 minus 24, the 72 I'm looking at is this, 72 minus 24, and that will give me 48. These 48 cards is actually returned to John. So 48 plus 72, okay, I actually get 120. So now John is 120, Kevin remains unchanged. We have to check that the total, the 3 of them, the total still add up to 216, because this is an internal transfer of one friend transferring to another friend. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, so this is the part where we actually, John gave some of his game cards to Larry, and Larry game cards were tripled. So you can see this is the tripling. From 24 to 72, you multiply by 3. Okay, so, and then if John did not give, John will have this 48 extra. Now, let's look at the next sentence. Kevin gave some of his game cards to John, and John's game cards were tripled. So if Kevin did not give any to John, how many did John have at first? So it's 120 divided by 3 equals to 40. That means John had 40 at first. Okay, so what about the rest? the 120 minus 40, okay, this number of game cards, which is 80, is returned to Kevin. So 80 plus 72 equals to 152. So I know that Kevin has 152 at first, and Larry 24. Once again, we need to check that the three values here, these three values 1, 2, and 3, adds up to 216. Okay, so now let's go through the question again. Okay, based on this, Kevin gave some of his game cards to John, and John's game cards were tripled. So you can see the tripling, right? Let's show you the tripling. You can see it tripled. John game cards. And when it tripled, right, that means it subtract. No, sorry, you add 80. Here you subtract 80. From 152 to 72, you subtract 80. Larry game cards remain unchanged. Next, John gave some of his game cards to Larry, and Larry's game cards were tripled. So you can see the tripling here. Okay, multiply by 3, right? Okay, and since we can see an increase of 48, here there will be a decrease of 48. Okay, it means I subtract 48. Here remains unchanged. Now it's important to note that all three adds up to 216 at all times. If you have any steps that does not add up to 216, you know that you're wrong. So to summarize, okay, how many game cards did Kevin have at first? The answer is 152.